will really be appreciated with the team because it's Olympics.
Yeah.
And, we went for the welcome back ceremony, which was at Boipuso Hall.
Yeah.
And that event took like 2-3 hours. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love that we're celebrating the team because of their achievements at the Olympics.
Yeah.
We get back, and in those 2-3 hours, not once was the word referee or umpire mentioned.
Dot Okatch. Or you want me to say Metoro?
And you will do. Dorothy comes in professional setups, like when I'm at work or in these, career focused meetings.
Yeah.
And then Dot is the informal one on the basketball courts.
On the basketball courts.
Yes.
But what about when you're in a podcast setup?
That one, anything goes. Dorothy Dot, I don't know.
Welcome to the 20th podcast.
Thanks.
Yeah, finally we get to sit down. Like we've been trying to find time
for months.
Yeah. At some point I was scared. I was like, hey, this lady will end up thinking that I'm just playing around.
No, but I was also in and out, so that's what caused the delay.
Yeah. So let's get straight into business. For those who don't know, this is an NBA accredited basketball referee. I think the first and the only one in Botswana at the moment.
Well, for FIBA accreditation, we're two of us right now at the moment. But the one who does the NBA Basketball Africa League is only me.
Okay. Yeah. So I was a bit shocked and a bit disappointed when people came back from the Olympics. A lot of people celebrated, which they deserve to be celebrated. But there was one name which was not even mentioned, even by mainstream media. I was like, how can this lady just broke a record? Like she's the first Botswana to officiate at the Olympics for basketball.
When I came back from the Olympics, for me it was a great feat. It was something that we got Botswana basketball on the map. We were at the world's biggest stage at the Olympics.
Yeah.
There was also a tennis referee. We were two of us, Haone and I, were the only two referees from Botswana at the Olympics. So, and we're female, so we thought, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
We get back and we're like, okay, the team is not back, that's fine. The team came back, we're like, team is back. Definitely for the first time, we'll really be appreciated with the team because it's Olympics.
Yeah.
And, we went for the welcome back ceremony. Which was at Boipuso Hall.
Yeah.
And that event took like 2-3 hours. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love that we're celebrating the team because of their achievements at the Olympics.
Yeah.
We get back, and in those 2-3 hours, not once was the word referee or umpire mentioned. In 2-3 hours, Haone and I just sat there next to each other, looked at each other, and we just kept laughing because we were like, why are we here? And the craziest thing is Haone actually did the men's finals. She was a line umpire for tennis at the men's finals at Olympics.
Yeah.
And I didn't reach quarterfinals. This is my first Olympics, but at least we thought we'd get that same, not even the same, but just be acknowledged to say we had two female referees. We got acknowledgement from the US Embassy. They put it up on their social network. From WASBO, they also put that up on their social media. And by then, he was not yet the president. Now he's the president. He actually acknowledged us on social media as well, our president, H.E. Dumaboko. Yes. He acknowledged us when we came back from Olympics. He put it on his social media, congratulating these two referees. And then Okavango Diamond Company came to our rescue, and they actually appreciated us as part of the team of females who went to Olympics. That's really the only recognition that we got. And it was crushing, It was, I won't lie, it was really crushing, but we kept smiling and we played it off like, anyways, we're never acknowledged. But it was really, really crushing.
But I think you guys are going to be recognized. I think whoever was in charge didn't do their job properly. They didn't brief properly. I guess so.
I don't know. I don't know if that's what it is. I mean, I have spoken to a few people who are in certain positions. I won't mention here because I still want my referee license.
Yeah.
But I spoke to certain people in certain positions, and I told them that nobody at a certain level is going to know about us as referees unless you speak about us to them. If you don't, how will they know that we exist? How will they know what we're doing, out there? They can't know that unless you tell them that. And I don't know, I hope it didn't fall on deaf ears. I hope any other Botswana who goes out there as a referee gets that acknowledgement when they come back home.
No, like you mentioned, HE recognized you guys, and now with the new administration, I guess like things will change. There's a lot of changes that are taking place.
Fingers crossed things do change.
Yeah. So we should also tell them that this week you're traveling to go and officiate other games. Come on, see.
Yeah, I'm going to Madagascar. Madagascar is actually where it all started for me.
Yeah.
I got my first license in Madagascar. I had to go there for a licensing clinic, and that's where I got my license. I've never gone back to Madagascar for any other competition until now. So for me, it feels like I'm going full circle, and I've done almost all the competitions I would have wanted to do before I go back to where it all started. So I'll be in Madagascar for the Africa Cup for 3x3 basketball.
You're right.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get too excited and talk about your achievements, like multiple achievements, I just want us to take it back to your childhood.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was doing my research, it was difficult to find information about you.
Seriously?
Like the only information you get is she's traveling, she's going to France, she's going to South Africa, she has won this and that. But like, I found this information like that I wasn't aware of. Like I was really shocked. I didn't know that you grew up in a refugee camp.
Oh yes, I did.
Yeah.
So, I'm a patriotic Botswana because Botswana is all I really know. I grew up here. I was educated by the government in Botswana. I got so many opportunities in Botswana. So Botswana is all I know. Botswana is home. I am a Botswana. But my lineage, my history will tell you otherwise. I was born in Uganda to Ugandan parents. And we came to Botswana in 1987 as political refugees. So I've lived in Botswana since 1987. I believe I was 4 years old. I can't remember. But since then, we've lived
just
here.
Just exposed your age.
Yeah. Oh, I just turned 42 over the weekend. So, yeah. I guess. Yeah, so we came here, we were political refugees, and then, but we were not staying in the refugee camp. My dad was working at the University of Botswana at that time as a lecturer in physics and mathematics, something crazy like that. And then when my dad passed on, that's when everything just crumbled because my mom was unemployed. She was not qualified to get a good job to take care of 6 children. So that's when we had to move to what was then a refugee camp. It's now a lodge or a hotel, Kagisong Center.
Who's that?
Kagisong Center in Mogoditani. So we lived there when it was still a refugee camp. It was like a roundable with all 7 of us living there and our 3 dogs. When we moved to Kagisong Center, I was in standard 5. I was around 9 years old when we went to the refugee camp. And, my mom worked absolutely hard to get us out of there. And, we eventually left that place. But I can tell you, living there, it had an effect on me in definitely a negative way. The way I looked at myself, the way I looked at my family, it was, damn, we're poor. We're living in a refugee camp. We don't have a toilet in our house. We have to go to the communal toilets out there. We can't shower in our house. We have to go to the communal showers out there, It was just really, it was a sad state of affairs. But I got to meet people from different countries. So as a child, it's also fun because there's always a new family coming in and then they leave, and meeting people, making friends. But I can't say it was all negative. I can't say it was all positive. It was just an adventure living in a refugee camp. Yeah.
Any fond memories, good or bad, any memories of that?
Some of my fondest memories, when I was there is community. Yeah. Community in that not only the refugees who were there, But the neighborhood had so many children, and they would all come into the refugee camp to play. We would play Sconti Ball, we would play Suna Baby, we would play all these games together as a community, as children. And there it was not about you being you being a foreigner. Actually, when I was in the refugee camp, I never heard me being called by the children who came in to play with us. So, my fondest memory is just when a whole bunch of kids just come together and just want to play and have fun. They don't care who you are, what social status you have. It's just coming together. And for me, that was a true definition of what or who a Botswana was. And I'll always embrace that because it made me feel like I kind of belonged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how long did you guys stay there?
It wasn't very long. I don't even think it was 2 years. It was just over a year or something. Mm-hmm. And then we moved out to Tlokwe.
So just to see some of the people that you grew up with in that sector?
Nope. I know I've seen them ever since we left, but I never kept in touch with them. And, last year, I finally went back to Kabazon Center for the first time since we left.
Wow.
I could not bring myself to go back there. I remember there's a place I used to work for, an NGO I used to work for, that decided they were having a retreat there. And I never turned up on the day, or I couldn't turn up because I couldn't go to Kabazon Center.
Yeah.
So just last year? Yes, there's a program that we supporting. Or was it this year? I don't know, my timings are off, but I think it was this year. There's a program that we at work are funding, and we decided to put the young people to stay there. And it was such a surreal moment for me to go back there. It looks so much smaller than what it was when I was younger. And I was working with the staff and I was showing them, this is the round of world we lived in. This is where this was happening. Oh my goodness, where is this? So It wasn't actually a crushing moment, but for me, it was like closure, closure, realization of I come from here, or like I had some time here. It was just lovely to go back to that place after having left it all those many years ago.
So staying within a refugee camp, did it have any effect on you on the adult that you are like? Do you ever get triggered and be like, oh, kind of what's wrong?
I think staying in a refugee camp influenced my choice of profession.
Okay.
Yes. So after I finished high school, there's a man, I call him my uncle. Okay. He's from Uganda, and he also lived in that same refugee camp for some time. Coincidentally, we're both renting office space in the same building right now.
Okay.
So this gentleman, he became a social worker. And, here I am trying to figure out what am I going to do. And he spoke to me about different professions. And when I heard about social work, I was like, that's it. When I was in a refugee camp for all that time, never ever did anybody come to us to give us support in the role of a social worker. We never had that. We really never ever. I cannot recall for the life of me that happening. And it's something that I think I needed. It's something that I wanted. It's something that you don't know about it, but you need it. And it could have really changed your life in some positive way. So when I was then deciding on my profession, I said, I want to be there for another child in a way that nobody was ever there for me. So I can say living there somehow played a huge role in me becoming a social worker.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. It actually influenced the path of profession, like you said. Okay. So you move out of the refugee camp, you stay in Tlokwe. I'm sure that's when the love of the game started.
No! Wow, basketball.
Yeah.
The love for basketball started when I was in high school. I think it was even my last year of high school.
So you're playing?
Yes. So when I was at Lidumang Senior Secondary School, and I was in Form 5.
Yeah.
So you see, my sisters used to play basketball.
Okay.
And they once took us for a basketball tournament, and that's when I fell in love with basketball. Then when I get to Lidumang, there's basketball. And my sister says, do you guys have a coach? I'm like, no, we don't have a coach. So she came and she coached us for a brief period in time. She left, somebody else came and coached us. And I remember my first game that we played. I believe it was against GSS. And they beat us 64-1 or something like that. I'm still convinced convinced it was 64-0, but my sister believes we made a point. I don't remember that point, but anyways.
Yeah.
And I just stayed. I just really loved the feeling of freedom that basketball gave me. The feeling of excitement, joy, belonging that I got from basketball. So since 1999, I think from that introduction, I've stayed. It's become part of me so much in that, when I was in university, I was in the executive committee of the basketball club. I kept the basketballs in my room. So every single team, I think we had 5 teams, university teams. Every single team that needed basketballs for training, I would be walking around campus with, basketballs, taking them to the court. And I lived, ate, breathed everything basketball.
So you even played pro?
No, and yes, I don't even know what pro is right now. Okay, so I played for the university team, the top university team. University of Namibia. Sorry, I did my first degree at the University of Namibia. Yes, so I played for the UNAM Wildcats. I was the captain at some point. Got MVP awards. It was amazing. Came back to Botswana, played for a couple of teams in Botswana. I could never ever play national team.
Why?
Because I was a refugee. I had a refugee passport.
Okay.
And with a refugee passport, I basically don't have a passport of any country. It was a United Nations travel document that I had. You
belong to the world?
Yes. And I belonged to the world, but nowhere in the world. They were so bad, I couldn't even get visas to go to countries. Yeah. Because the countries were like, oh, you're a refugee. If you come here and you refuse to leave, we can't get you out. So I could never make national team. I could only play for clubs. And that's all that I did. Yeah.
And then the shift from being a player to a referee. Because I know a lot of people after playing, they get into administration or they become coaches. Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything I didn't do in basketball. Yeah. I played and then I went for coaching clinics. I coached a lot of high schools when I was in Namibia. And then when I came back to Botswana, I actually coached GSS as well and Lidumang at some point in time. I've been in administration as well. In Namibia, I was in the University of Namibia basketball club committee. And then in Botswana, at some point, I was the technical director of the Botswana Basketball Association. I needed to focus on reffing. So I played so many different roles in basketball. Reffing started coincidentally when I was still a player. I used to be a table official and would get paid. It was 30 Namibian dollars, 30 rands per game, sitting on the table. So it was good money. It was good money. But as a referee, you get paid more. I think it was 50 Namibian dollars per game.
Okay, 50 rand.
Yes. But at that point in time, I was just table official. I mean, hey, I'm sitting and getting good money until I went to a place called UN Plaza in Namibia. And UN Plaza was where the high school kids would come and play their league. I came to their league one day with a few of my friends, and these kids are playing and there's no referees. When their team is not playing, they'll be reffing. And it was so bad because there was a lot of biasness, there was a lot of not understanding the rules. I can't say I was a pro in rules at that time, but because I was playing at senior level, I had a better understanding of the rules than these kids who are just meeting basketball. So my friends and I got whistles and we're like, let's do this. Jumped on the court, started running around and making the most ridiculous calls ever. Our coach was there because he was coaching high school team and he saw us, and he was also the head of the Referees Association in Namibia. So he said, oh guys, come back next weekend. And I'm like, I'm loving this, I'll be back. Went back with a few friends. The weekend after that, one friend. After that, none of my friends came. It was just me who kept going back there. And then he was having a referees clinic, and then he invited me to the referees clinic and then gave me my first game in the league, which was a men's game. I was so terrified. I was really terrified. And he pulls me aside and says, Dorothy, I'm giving you these games because you may not know the rules, but you show fairness to both sides in your lack of knowledge of the rules. And I continued both. I continued with both. until my injury as a basketball player, which led me to have to make a choice between continue as a player or focus on being a referee. Okay. And for me, that decision was very easy.
And I'm sure that's one of the best decisions you've ever made in your life.
Definitely one of the best.
Yeah. So this is when you start being an official in all of these leagues, local leagues, South African League, Namibian League.
Those was even before I got my license.
Oh.
Yes.
Even in South Africa?
Yes. Okay. Well, South Africa was it before. South Africa, it may have been after.
Yeah.
And before, actually.
And before.
So, to become a FIBA referee, it was in 2010 when we were in Botswana for Kuxa Games.
Yeah.
I actually came with Namibia. Namibia invited me to travel with them as their referee to Kuxa Games.
Yeah.
So I came to Kuxa Games in Botswana with Team Namibia as a Namibian ref. And there I met a South African gentleman who was a FIBA ref. He watched me ref and then he pulled me aside and said, "You have potential to become a FIBA referee." And I was like, "What is that?" And he told me the whole process I'd have to go through. And I was like, "Sure, I want to do this." That was 2010. But I also acknowledged that for me to be able to do that, I needed to have a lot of game practice.
Yeah.
So this is when any tournament that was there, I would request, "Can I please come and officiate? Like, you don't have to pay me. I'll pay for my own transport." I just wanted to get myself in the system of getting a lot of games within the region. And, that worked. I got in that system. I got my license and I stayed in the system because now it became, I'm never too good for grassroots basketball. Grassroots basketball built me. So I can't be too good for grassroots basketball.
Yeah. Okay. And invitations start coming. Like, how do you penetrate into the international scene? Europe, America, Asia, probably.
Yes, I've been to it all. So there.
Yeah.
2014, I got my first license, which was 5-on-5 basketball license in 2014. And all I could do was 5-on-5 games internationally. I did a lot of games within the continent, but unfortunately, I never went out of the continent at that time. I only did my first Afro basket games in 2019, of which I was shocked to do the final at that competition. I was like, wow, okay. So it was only 2019 when I did my first Afro basket. And then in 2019, same year, there was a licensing clinic for 3x3 referees. And I was privileged to be able to attend that clinic as well. And I got my license at that clinic. And after that, COVID came in. I got my license, it came out in 2020, just when COVID was in. So the whole of 2020, nothing.
You're not active.
Yes, but 2021, the competitions that I did, one competition, 3x3. 2022, I went to Commonwealth Games, that was in the UK, and then I went to Romania, and then 3x3 nominations just started pouring in 2022. 2023, they kept pouring in, and then that's when I got to do also my first World Cup for 5-on-5 in Spain, and my first World Cup for 3x3 in Poland. So I got to do both of those last year, and then this year Olympics. So it just started pouring in. As soon as I got my 3x3 license, it's like doors just opened up.
So how was the Olympics experience?
So the Olympics experience, I don't know how to explain it, but it was a mix. It was a mix of excitement being there. It was a mix of, I'm at this level of competition, the only African referee out of 11 referees in 3x3 basketball. I got the weight of the continent on my shoulders. It was exciting, it was scary, and at the same time, it was a bit underwhelming. Because I think it's because of all the other competitions I had done. So I'd already had so much anxiety and fear and excitement that, Olympics, it was like, okay, this is not anything new from anything else. It's just good to be here at this level. So it was a mix of different emotions and feelings at the same time, but it was just great to have an opportunity to have been there.
And what did you bring us?
T-shirts. I brought t-shirts and a few goodies here and there for people. Yeah.
So you going to the Olympics actually, like it put Botswana basketball on the map. It actually did, because we have someone who was there. We have people asking, where is that lady from? She's from Botswana. No, Botswana is basketball. So I'm sure it will also inspire like most of these young ladies that are playing basketball in the young level, so that they up their game also and represent us in the next coming Olympics.
You know what I would love to see one day is more referees from Botswana, firstly, and Africa penetrating the international field of officiating. Me taking a decision that time when I got injured, I actually tore my medial ligament in, that's by the knee. I tore that, and I tried to continue playing for like a year after that, but it was a recurring injury, and I realized that I'm gonna injure myself as a player. And as a player, yes, I can make national team, but with the funding situation in Botswana, we don't have a basketball national team every year. And even if you look at the FIBA cycle, it's only every 2 years where there's, like senior team basketball. So I would get to go out and play every 2 years if I make the national team. I would not get paid good money if I go on national team. I get a stipend for representing the country, yes. On the flip side, as a referee, I get paid. Every time I get on that flight to go and officiate, I'm getting paid in US dollars for that competition that I'm going to do. So I realized for myself that here's an opportunity for me to continue in a sport I love at international level, as opposed to just playing only in Botswana for fun. And I wish I could get more females to also see it this way. I mean, I would love for them to continue playing, yes, but I think the avenue where we can really capitalize on right now is off the court, being the officials, being the commissioners. I think that's where we can really actually make our mark more than team sports are just sometimes frustrating. So as an individual, you actually have more opportunity to grow, as opposed to, you need 12 people for a basketball team, 5-on-5. Money for 12 people to go anywhere is hectic. But as an individual, I do it.
Before I say what I want to say, I just want to say shout out to Fox, like he's your counterpart. He's a counterpart. He does official. He's a referee in the local South African league. I don't know, maybe also in other countries. He's doing well also. And what I can say from what you say, I feel like you guys lack support from your administration, the Botswana Basketball Association administration. Not that I'm pointing fingers to anyone or anything, but I feel like there's no support. Like athletics, like you see how those guys are supporting the youngsters. BFA is doing the same. Karate is doing the same. Why is it that BBA is not doing that for his people? I feel like the administration is failing you guys, and they have a room to improve. So,
firstly, Fox, I remember I started this journey in refereeing with Fox. We got our license. I believe it was the same year that we got our license, and so many competitions we went to together. And yes, he got a big break. He was officiating in South Africa, basically in the whole region. Any big competition that was in the region, he was in there. So he's one of those referees who helped me grow, advise, nurturing. I was always timid and scared, and he was always this confident referee on the court, and I drew so much from that. I learned so much from that, Now when it comes to the BBA, so when I look at other sport codes as well, now I'm going to speak about being a referee, the support as a referee, as opposed to player support there. It's expensive, the player support. As a referee, I'm actually going to say Botswana Basketball Association might be doing a bit more for referees than other codes I've seen. I interact with a lot of other referees, from different sports codes. I won't mention which, but from different sports codes. And there's a cry that comes from them where it's at least you get this. First and foremost, for me to get my license, I had to travel to Madagascar. The Botswana Basketball Association covered that cost for me to go to Madagascar for the licensing. Even Fox, for him to go and do his licensing in Benin. The Botswana Basketball Association is the one that actually covered that cost for him to go there. Now, when it comes back to now, daily, everyday care of me as a referee, this is where there's a lot that needs to, not only the association, but there has to be a better interaction and marriage between Referees Association, Botswana National Sports Commission, and the Botswana National Olympic Committee. Because, anytime when I have a grievance and I say, but this is not happening for referees, BNSC pushes me to BNOC pushes me back to BNSC. They're the ones. Yes. So I don't think there's that ground where do we fall as referees? Who do I go to if there's an opportunity for me to travel to a country to officiate a competition and I don't have money? Who do I go to? Where do the referees fall? If we look at the votes of the association, do they have a vote for referees? You see, so in as much as, yes, I feel the association could do better, maybe I speak like this because I was once the technical director of the Basketball Association. Yes. So I know what they have in their pocket or in their portfolio for a referee. I know that. That was my mandate, referees. Okay. So I know what's there and what's not there. So it just comes back from, where's the home for referees of all sports codes? Where is our home? Who do we go to? Who do I complain to when I come back from Olympics and nobody has mentioned referees? Who do I complain to? If I go this side, they tell me, oh, no, you fall under BNOC. When I go this side, I'm told it's BNSC. And I'm just thinking, oh, well, this is the gap that I belong in. Yeah, so once that is sorted out, once that is figured out, once we are given a home, then it becomes easier for us to even voice out some of our concerns about the care of a referee. We're told that we can't get an allowance when we go out because we're getting paid where we're going. Who knows how much we're getting paid?
Isn't there money meant for you guys like that in general?
No. If there is, we don't know about it, but generally there's no money for... There is for development, for us to get our licenses. We were sent out there, but after that, the excuse we hear is you guys are being paid. You're being paid, but how much am I being paid? That's my question.
So even traveling costs like I'm covered.
Oh no, that's for basketball. Luckily for basketball, every competition I go to, 3x3, every single cost is covered by 3x3.
Okay.
FIBA 3x3. The only cost which they say should come out of the allowance they give me is the visas. Yeah. So I have to figure out how I'm going to pay for a visa. Sometimes I have to travel to Namibia. Like when I was going to Spain, I have to travel to Namibia at my cost to get a visa to go to Spain and ref. And then the flag of Botswana is there showing that she's a referee from Botswana. Yeah. With 5-on-5, they also cover everything if I'm a neutral referee. Neutral means my country's not participating. But if my country's participating, then the cost falls on my country for travel, to pay the travel, accommodation, visas, everything. So when Botswana is participating, then the Sport Commission and the BBA have no choice but have to pay all those costs. Because if you go to a competition without a referee that FIBA has assigned for you as a accompanying referee, there's a cost you have to pay. So that's in basketball. Now, I'm aware that it's not all sport codes which have the same setup. Some codes, the referee has to buy their own air ticket to get to that competition. So we're just fortunate. I'm just fortunate that that's not something I have to think about how am I going to get there, because FIBA covers those costs for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But what's your take on the local basketball scene, not just in the refereeing department, but in general? Because I'm hearing a lot of things, good and bad.
In terms of what? The play level, skill level, management, organized, in terms of where, what?
This like administration and going to the play. Hey, you that was a counter-attack. You're avoiding certain questions here. Okay, let me just get straight to the point. I've seen a lot of former players, coaches, getting frustrated on how things are being managed or handled.
Yeah.
Yeah, all travels, you've seen how other leagues are managed. Yeah. So it has reached an extent whereby certain teams organize their own tournaments. You also had your own tournament recently for ladies. I'm sure you had your own reasons. Maybe you're trying to uplift the ladies' game. Yeah. So what's your take? What's your take?
So the response is going to be a bit lengthy, and it's going to start from some time back.
Yes.
Again, when I was the technical director, I worked with FIBA to get coaches instructed to come to Botswana and train coaches in Botswana. So we had 2 trainings that ran concurrently of, I believe it was 12 people in Francistown, 12 people in Gaborone. So 24 coaches were being trained. From these 24, I want to believe that 3/4, only about 6 didn't get the license, but all the others got the license. And the vision at that time was the Basketball Association has a role to play in sport development in the country, in basketball development in the country. But it's not the association that's going to go out there and develop the sport. These coaches, trained as they have been trained, should now go out there and start academies. Go to a school, a government school, coach a government school, start your own small academy. And if at least 10 of you have a place where you're coaching, the 10 of you should then start a league, developmental league for kids, have your own tournaments. You're bringing up the interest because the parents will be there, the kids will be there, there's tournaments for us to play in. That will develop into having a better quality of basketball, more people engaged in the game. That was the vision that me and the team had at that time, and that's why we did it in that way. The role of the association was then make sure that when these academies that they've got basketballs, if they need maybe a venue and nobody has money, how can we use our muscle to get a court or a venue that can then be used for that tournament? How do we work with them to bring sponsors on board? How do we bring FIBA on board to give us funding for a tournament? How do we have relationships with FIBA so that even when 3x3 is going out, they're the ones, 3x3 will help us to pay for that? The role of the association is really to provide the platform for basketball development to happen in the country. But it's not the role of the technical director to go out there and develop basketball. I only got that understanding when I was in office, because when I got in, I was like, yes, time to make the change. And I'm like, wait, this is impossible. We're like 7, 8 of us. We cannot do it. We need everyone who is in the sport to identify their role and play it. We've got these international referees that the association paid for to go and get the license. How are these referees developing other referees in the country? What are they doing? What is their role? Are they living up to their role? If they're not living up to their role, are we going back to the association to say you're failing to develop referees? What are we doing? We have had young lions coming in and training coaches and training everybody, training players, and they go. What is our role who've been trained in making sure that basketball continues? Me having a 3x3 league this year with the Elite Academy, who actually organized everything and came to me, it was the fact that we need to get more people in the game. We need to sustain and maintain people in basketball. People's complaints are valid. They're very, very valid, and I will not sit here and lie and say everything is roses and it's not the executive to blame, it's not me to blame. No, I would be totally, totally lying if I say that. But I want to take this approach where we all identify what we can do. If we all in basketball ask ourselves, what can I do in my proximity of influence to change the outlook of basketball? What can I do? If we look at all these academies now, when I look at all these tournaments, I'm excited because that vision is happening without me being in office and saying, now do this, now do this. It's happening because they all realize their role. And now they're fulfilling that role by having the tournaments. It's not BBA that should be, BBA, yes, they should have a junior league.
Yeah.
In the absence of a junior league, the tournaments are there. So I want to put the blame on all of us in basketball. What are we doing to ensure that the sport is actually developing and growing? I know it's a very politically safe response, but it's a response that I honestly believe in. It's a response I believe in, and that's why I have a lot of trainings for referees, female referees, or I'm always out there to assist and train referees, because if I don't do it, who's going to? Is it important for me to go to Olympics and then when I'm done, Botswana is finished? Wouldn't it be a better legacy for me when I'm done? There are other referees who can be like, you see, we're following in her footsteps. It's safe because it's honestly what I believe in. Hey, remember why I became a social worker?
Yeah.
It's a response I believe in.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of people had a lot of interest and love for the game before this current administration. Hey, after that, like a lot of people started like pulling back and stuff like that. Maybe it's a story for another day, because this can be a whole podcast episode.
I too left the current administration. I took a decision that I wanted to focus on just reffing and not put myself in a situation where I would jeopardize me being a referee by being in the executive committee and making decisions that the committee might not be happy with, knowing very well that some people hold my license in their hands. So my decision was, let me ref and allow basketball to grow naturally as it should grow. On the sidelines we speak. There's a lot of speaking on the sidelines about everything that is happening that is wrong and how things should be going and there are those things which I do agree with. Yes, there are those things which I can also be very vocal about. But then there are also things where my question comes back to, what are we doing about it? Look, if at all we felt unhappy about the administration that's in power, we voted them back in power. For 58 years, Botswana, we voted the same government back into power, and look at how refreshing it is now. So at the end of the day, the decisions that we've made as individuals in basketball, these are the consequences.
So I know I hate you loud and clear. Just have a question. Why is it that the men's national team hasn't played a single match even since 2014?
Was it 20? No, it was not. Was it 2014? I was in
5x5.
I was in Zimbabwe.
The 5x5 side.
Yes, I was in Zimbabwe when the national team played Mozambique and almost beat Mozambique. Was it 2014 or 2015? 2015. February 2015.
Yeah, I remember covering the match.
That's when it was at Buipuso Hall.
Yes.
I remember that.
So I'm just wondering, why is it that, like, is it because Botswana is rated at a certain level, so they're not given leverage to participate on the national level?
So I think here I'm also answerable because I came into office after that as technical director. So that question should be directed to me as technical director at that time. Why did the team? A number of reasons why the team never went out after that. Firstly, if we look at the FIBA cycle of national teams, in a year like this year we had under 18 Afrobasket for under 18 this year. Next year we have under 16 Afrobasket and the senior Afrobasket. The year after that, it's under 18 Afrobasket only. So it's every 2 years. That's when we have national team games at FIBA level. Every year, however, we had club championships. And club championships, it's up to the club itself, to take part in these. And unfortunately, our teams didn't have enough funds to go for that. Back to the national team. So meaning that we start to prepare now for next year. This is when the qualifiers are happening. If we look at Afrobasket qualifiers now, we are in window 2 or window 3. There was window 1 in Angola in February. Now they're in Senegal. And then next year they'll be in February again. I don't know if it will be Morocco. Those are 3 countries where they're qualifiers. 12 players, head coach, assistant coach, and at that time, accompanying referee. 15 people, 3 countries to qualify for AfroBasket. There's no money in basketball for that. Sponsors are not coming on board for basketball. Our allocation from the Botswana National Sports Committee is not enough for you to go for 3 windows of qualifiers before you get to AfroBasket. The pockets were just not deep enough to be able to do that. And fortunately, the qualifiers, it starts firstly also from the region. And if we look at the region and we say we're having qualifiers, we're in a region with Angola and Mozambique. Yes, we almost beat Mozambique once, but even South Africa and Zimbabwe. What is the probability of going to the first qualifiers and making it to the next? Fine, we could make it. So there was a lot that went into making this decision, plus allocation, which is less than 1 million a year for development and everything. The money was not enough to be able to actually engage in that. We unfortunately didn't do a very good job at getting sponsors. We failed to promote the sport well enough to get sponsors for us to be able to do that. So it's the usual stories that everyone hears of: there's no money, there's no money, there's no money. But in reality, there really was no money for us to prioritize having, national teams go out.
Okay. Like I mentioned, there's no support in funds in basketball. Why is it? Is our basketball not appealing enough for us to be getting sponsors? Yeah, because there's a lot of corporates in this country.
Okay. Again, there's a number of reasons why. Firstly, guys, it's no secret Botswana is a football country. We will put everything and anything into supporting some sports over other sports, and basketball has always had this reputation for a gamma kid. And that's not been a very good reputation for us to have. When you come to the courts, also, to some extent, also, we don't do things very right. I think there's once I kept chasing away a group of young people sitting under a tent right near the basketball court vaping. And I said, what parent will bring their child here when they drop their child off and they see you guys sitting in a tent drinking and vaping? Yes, football, I'm sure they're drinking, but look, the proximity between the players on the pitch, and it's just a whole different context. Already we're being seen as naked, and then you're bringing in this attitude, we need to clean up our game. We need to clean up how we relate to each other. We need to clean up how we speak to each other. We need to package ourselves in a way that this is a family sport. To package our way in such a way that there's so much benefits from being in basketball. Right now, it's hard for us to break these stereotypes that are there about basketball. It's not always true stereotypes. I mean, if you go to, I'm going to use Elite Academy because that's where I've seen so many children being dropped off by parents, being picked up by parents being active in the sport. And now I see it at Bela as well. They're doing something right. And it's easy for them to get, much easier to get sponsorship because they've cultivated this whole culture of we take care of your children. We're there for your children. We are family, we are community. And I think football also got that right because Sunday soccer, it's a family, it's community, we're coming to have fun. And I think we just need to be able to do that as well as in basketball. We need to really have a good marketing strategy to revamp the face of basketball and how people see us. Is it 3x3 that's going to change that? Maybe. Is it having, like now our president is on the central board of FIBA Africa, is it her sitting there so that, back at home we can say, oh wow, so we can also get to those levels? Is it me going to Olympics? If that's what it is, we have to work on those positive points, which then sell off basketball as something that you need to be part of. And until we can do that, it's going to be very hard even for individual teams to bring in that sponsorship. UB, Fast Break Fridays, is doing an amazing job right now. I mean, they're managing to run their league, to bring in sponsors, and it comes from the whole community and family aspect that they're doing. Relics has always been a family, like they've been so close knit, and they've brought that into their league, and it's been working for them. So I think as the next committee that comes in needs to, first of all, marketing. How do we change our brand and make it a brand that people want to be associated to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure they're listening. If you want marketing, like I know some guy who's been in this media industry for some time.
You see, the PRO position is there. They can apply.
Yeah. No, I get you. So when are the next elections? Because we need to see changes. Because the reason why I raised this question of why isn't the national team played, we lost a lot of talent. I know a lot of guys who were part of that national team squad whose dreams actually died because they saw themselves playing at a certain level.
Yeah, and ladies as well.
Yeah.
I've seen that. There are those, there's a group of ladies that look at it and like, if we had an under 18 team when these girls were under 18,
yeah,
we could have made it out there. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. So I don't know when elections are, but they're this year, I think. It's something that I've really not been following closely. I just know there was a call for people to apply for positions, and deadlines were missed, and not everything was submitted. So currently, right now, I know the position for president, we've got 2 people who have applied for that.
Oh, okay.
Vice president, there's nobody. Secretary general, it was 1 person only. And then the other positions, all right now, there's no one. So they've opened up again for people to submit for that. So I really don't know when elections are. As a referee, I try my best not to be involved in, I don't want to say the politics, but those politics and knowing all of that. Maybe I should know, but I really don't know when elections are.
So you see what I was saying, people have lost interest. I know a former player who started his own league actually. Churchill Barrows started his own league, which was doing extremely well. Unfortunately, COVID came and hit.
Yeah. I remember that league. Where Elite is now practicing extension 12. Yeah. Yes. That was in my mind. That time I was technical director. Yeah. In my mind, we should not only have the Botswana Basketball League running because it becomes, I don't want to say monotonous, but it's the same teams, it's the same people, and the same teams. Maybe one will move there, one will move there.
Yeah.
We all know how each other plays. That 3 years later, when we come for the game, we know how ND plays. So we know how we're going to play defense against this team because, yes, there's new players coming in, but that doesn't change, much. If there's another league, players are playing with competitors in the same team. Yeah. They're helping each other grow. You're playing against people that you normally don't play against in the league.
Yeah.
So for me, it just made sense that if there are other leagues happening out there, that's okay. I mean, now there's that Fast Break Friday, which is amazing and it's exciting, and there's a whole draw system.
Which one is that?
The one UB Relics that is doing. They've got Fast Break Friday. Every Friday is basketball at UB.
Is it?
Oh yes, now they've started the whole draft system of they pick players and it's a whole
every Friday
ceremony, and it's like, for this team we pick this player. It's like, wow, this is the excitement is coming back into it. So I've lost my train of thought, but yeah.
No, you're getting tired. Let's wrap it up. So there's something disappointing that I saw from your social media. When we're still celebrating you, like straight from the Olympics, this is our queen, she's back, yada yada yada. You come home, you officiated match, and someone insults you, pulls you mkwele.
So you're the first person who's getting me to talk about this.
Yeah.
Not because others have not tried.
Yeah.
I've had various media outlets contacting me about this and saying, we saw your social media post, would like to cover you, would like to do a story on it.
Yeah.
And I understood, especially because the people who reached out to me are people who normally cover the competitions, I go to. So I knew it wasn't out of malice or to taint the name of the sport, but it was just to tell a story. Yeah, I mean, even the Secretary General and the President reached out to me to find out what's going on, how do we resolve this. And my response to everybody has been, that game, in that final, I mean, I've read so many times in Botswana, and the crowd has said things, but it's never attacked me, my nationality, my past. It's never reached a point where it felt xenophobic before. You know, it's always been these slight remarks where you look at them and then you smile, and then, but at these finals, you know, it was in the first quarter. And you know, you're running by the side, you make a call, and right behind you, someone is shouting in your ear about Musambi ayo, Arabiranga. That was the first one. And I stopped and I was like, I can make a bad call. I can make a call the crowd doesn't understand. Yeah. But I don't think, regardless of how bad the call is, that you're going to come up to my ear and shout something like that in my ear, which basically undermines everything about me. It undermines the fact that I carry a flag everywhere I go. And I do it very, very, very proudly. Yeah. And when I'm at home, allow me to ref with the flag on my back very proudly. Yeah. Do not take it away from me. But for you to come and take that flag away from me and separate yourself from me in the first quarter of the game just broke me. Yeah. And keep passing that same face and keep hearing the same comments. And you know, after the game, I sat on the table. It was the whole prize giving ceremony that was happening in front, and I just sat at the table. I just sat there. I could not. I sat there, and you know, different people were coming and talking, and you know, I would chat. And there's a friend of mine, Solomon Basile. He came and he sat with me. I think it was for a whole hour. I could not move. I just sat there. We were chatting about anything and everything, but inside I was broken. I was totally crushed. So yeah, that was an experience I hope I never ever have to go through again. I mean, I rep internationally, and when I'm internationally and someone is going to make comments like that about me and where I'm from, I expect it. Yeah. I'm repping countries, I'm from a different country, and that's fine. But I don't hear that when I'm out there. I don't hear that at all. There's a certain level of respect that the fans have for the officials. They do say things, they do shout, they go crazy, but I've never left a game internationally feeling undervalued, feeling ostracized, feeling like I am not wanted, like I did in that game. That's when I made a decision after that game that for the rest of this year, I don't think I'm going to officiate again. I just can't.
Yo, this person costed us like a good ref.
No, but next year, I think I'll be next year. I'll be
but which thoughts came into your mind when that was said into you? Like, which thoughts came into your mind? Like, yeah.
For me, you know, the thoughts that came into my mind at that point in time, firstly, it was shock. It was shock that somebody felt it was right to say that. Shock that they kept on saying it. Shock that the people around this person did not feel they should stop.
It was a man or a woman?
It was a man. Did not feel like they should stop this person. And for me, that's what really got to me a lot as well. The fact that, can't you guys, are you not hearing? Am I hearing things? Am I, you know, why is nobody stopping them?
Is it someone within the basketball community?
No, it's not. I think, you know, if it was someone in the basketball community, I think I would have even said something to them. But you've got a crowd of people who are drinking the bottles. There's no security. I don't know you. Am I going to say anything to you?
Now this message goes to the outgoing administration of basketball and the incoming one. Firstly, we need security for our players, our referees, for the spectators, and for you, the administration. So you should fix that part. it's easy to get security. Just get like one of these security guys to be your sponsor. Trade exchange. You know how to work around it. Yeah, but I'm sorry. Thank you for sharing your experience, and I'm sorry for what you went through. And keep it up. Like, you're doing well. Don't allow unnecessary and stupid people to take down your spirit.
Thanks. I mean, it was like I said, I've written for how long, and it has never reached that level. It never crossed that line.
Yeah.
And the amount of support that I've received from the basketball community has been amazing. For me, it's just been amazing how they've all, at their own time, in their own way, reached out, and wanted to talk about it and wanted to sort it out. And who is this person? And so that support has really been great. Yeah, I just wish going forward, as soon as we detect that, we stop it.
Yeah.
Because this comes back to the image that we need to have, the brand that we need to have for the sport. And we don't want to have that brand where people don't feel safe. Yeah. Where people who, I mean, I'm a Botswana now, I carry the flag with me. There are players who are not Botswana. Is that something that they need to be hearing when they're on the court? Should we be mocking their complexion? Should we be mocking the political issues happening in their countries? Should we be mocking poverty levels in their country when all they want to do is play the sport they absolutely love?
Stay away from crime.
So it's that brand that we need to really work on and fix, because we cannot be projecting that on people who are in the sport.
Yeah. No, I guess they're listening. They'll fix it. And I'm glad, like, organizations such as FIFA, they don't tolerate such things. Like, someone can get penalized from saying such things. So I think these are things that we should also adopt within the basketball fraternity. I don't know if we have it at a FIBA level. If we don't have it, FIBA should fix it. Botswana Basketball Association should also fix it. Because it's not the first time that I've encountered such a thing in the local basketball scene. Yeah. Coaches can also tell you, like, the struggles that some of their players go through. Yeah.
That's why I said, as there are players there, and I mean, they've heard these things, and that's not who I want us to be. It's not who I think we should be. Me in basketball, when I was in university, I think it was my third year or my second year, I can't remember. Basketball saved. Yeah. I had a nervous breakdown, and basketball is what actually saved me. It's become my refuge. It's become the place where I go. If I'm stressed, I will get basketball. I go shoot. Yeah. If I am happy, excited, I go shoot. If I'm sad, if I'm angry, I just broke up with somebody. Basketball was my safe place. Now, a lot of these players, that's their safe place. But when they go there, and from the crowd we say these things to them, we're taking the safety away from them. Yeah. If we look at leagues across the world, they're successful because of a mix of players. Yes. They're very successful because they've got players from South Sudan, from Germany, from everywhere. Yeah. And we also need to be able to be tolerant. I mean, the basketball community that I know is tolerant. Yeah. Is tolerant. It's just a few people here and there, but just one person can actually take away all the gains that we're trying to make as a country. So, I mean, my only plea is, let's be tolerant of everybody in the sport, everybody in the game, regardless of how they look, regardless of what they look, regardless of the size that they are, how big they are, how small they are, how short they are. Let's be tolerant. We don't know why they're playing this sport. We don't know how it's saving their life. And we can't pull out this rug from under their feet, because in a moment of, I don't want to say joy, because that's not joy. In a moment of excitement, we say something that has totally and utterly crushed them. Yeah. Let's be a tolerant nation. Let's really love everyone who's in the sport, because it's like iron sharpens iron. It's only really get better if we are tolerant of each other. So that's my biggest plea right now, that those remarks from outside, we really need to ask ourselves if it's building the sport or if it's breaking the sport.
No, sure it's something that they're listening to and will take action accordingly. Because we want to see this sport growing. We want to see more referees going to the Olympics. Imagine having 5 referees from Botswana. Yeah, even like at the World Cup, like football World Cup. I want to see more Joshua Pondos. They want to see a lot of officials at karate tournaments and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's something that starts from home. What we teach our children, what to say and what not to say. Yeah, yeah. Dude, I can see you're now tired. Sorry for the long interview.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. So you promised to bring us t-shirts next time when we travel. Now we'll be looking forward to the t-shirts.
From Madagascar.
No, at the next Olympics.
Oh yeah, sure, I can promise to that because that's like how many years away from now. So yes.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for taking your time to come and have a conversation with us. And we're hoping to having more of you, like just to talk about more of these issues and also social work related stuff. Yes. Thank you so much. All right, cheers.